R.I.P. to the Cobra, a recap of the Bab Bash, and we get grilling tips for the 4th of July from a celebrity chef. It is time for Watch D.A. Live. What is up, everybody? To all you crazy aliens, welcome inside another Sunday night mothership. So glad you're with us. Great show lined up for you. We will say so long, a fond farewell to a baseball legend, grilling tips with a celebrity chef, Dale Taldi, and we've got some goodies for you. Once again, welcome inside the show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You might be watching this on Twitter. You could be watching this on Instagram Live. If you're on YouTube, you're probably already subscribed, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you are notified when we go live and there's brand new videos. And there's a brand new video up right now, a monster epic anthology deep dive into the Bab Bash show. It's an hour and 40 minutes. If you've got a long drive for the 4th of July holiday weekend, if you're going to the airport, you've got a flight, what have you. If you're just chilling out, you want to totally just detach and listen to something. An hour 40 deep dive with stories never told, with audio never heard, with video never shown about Bab Bash. Me and Aiden walk through all the minutia and the details of the iconic party that we had 3 weeks ago. It is available right now on the YouTube page. Check it out. All right, let's get things cooking right now with something very special. Another unique emoji. I love this part of what YouTube offers us as a channel, because now we've instituted memberships, which cost less than a chicken sandwich just once a month, okay? Less than a coffee for a full month of content, exclusive content. For those in the chat, if you're watching right now on YouTube, you will see green for the members. They are green for the Jedi Council. And the Jedi Council has access to unique emojis. And we have this incredible library now of unique emojis, which YouTube says you can have based on how many members you have added up. So we added more members this week, which means we got another unique emoji. And let us unveil it. You'll see Rosie the cat, bears with tails, making tacos, cinnamon berry, Fisher the clown, and Morty D'Souza. Yes, there's been a lot of Morty D'Souza vibes and energy and memories swirling around the D-aliens over the last 2 weeks, okay? When I've asked you guys, what would you like to see as a personalized, unique emoji? This has been a little bit of the chatter. And then yesterday at Bab Bash, I saw Stephen Murray, who does a lot of our voice stuff. If you've heard me play Morgan Freeman on the air, we've played some other voices, if you will. That's Stephen Murray. He does amazing work for us here on the YouTube channel as well for Watch D.A. Live. He was telling me this hysterical story about Morty D'Souza. And I'm not going to blow it because we might use it as a bit later. But we were talking about how ridiculous Morty D'Souza was, and that he's missed. And I thought, that's the perfect emoji. For those that don't know, on the old CBS show, we had this very sad oboe type of sounder, a drop. And when it played, it was a downer, okay? And we said it was a band member that was just stuck in the room with his tuba. And so I had nicknamed him Morty D'Souza. And so Morty D'Souza, out of the conjuring of the imagination, as you saw right there for the YouTube emoji, is a man that looks very Italian with a giant mustache, and for some reason he's shirtless. Because when I dialed him up, I said, I think he's got to be shirtless. Okay, I think with the tuba, he's got to be shirtless and that little hat and that crazy mustache. And for some reason, he's fat. I don't know. The way that the image was conjured up, I just said, I think he has to be fat. So there you go. You can use Morty D'Souza all night long. It's excellent. It's amazing. And if you're in the YouTube chat, you will see the members use it, okay? And more on memberships later on in the show. But if you want to use those emojis, which who wouldn't, throughout the entire night, I highly encourage you to become a member of the Jedi Council. All right, let's get things cooking with your Furious Five. Well, you guys know that I've got a soft spot, but also I've got immense respect for the players that built the leagues into what they are now and didn't get to reap the wild financial benefits. When we're watching guys in the NBA and Major League Baseball make $50 million a year, that as a career earning would have been staggering for a player 30 years ago. Staggering. 20 years ago, probably as well. This day and age of monster, insane salaries, I mean, NFL as well, has just got to make guys that used to play go, man, I was born at the wrong time. And so I have immense respect for the guys that came before. And Dave Parker is one of those guys. And he passed away this week, just yesterday at the age of 74. And that was a tough one. It's a tough one because he's been battling Parkinson's for a while, but because he had just finally been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown and would be inducted this summer. So he missed the induction by, a month and a half. It's just gut-wrenching. But Dave Parker was the epitome of cool. And for as great of a baseball player as he was, and look, this is a guy that ultimately got into Cooperstown, his superpower was coolness. And I'm not sure there's many baseball players that are that way in today's society. So somebody young who's watching right now might go, well, there's no cool baseball players. There's cool basketball players. There's cool football players maybe, but I don't see cool baseball players, or at least I'm not familiar with any of them. Dave Parker was so badass. Dave Parker could hit a mile, could run like a demon, and had an absolute ridiculous throwing arm. On top of it, there is an infamous picture where he's smoking a cigarette in the dugout during a game. And he was part of the We Are Family 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates, who are just a collection of crazy personalities that just brought that entire city together. He also swung a sledgehammer in the on-deck circle to warm up for at-bats. Not joking. He would swing a sledgehammer. Imagine that today. You bring out a sledgehammer. And a guy that just took no guff. You know, management did not believe he was worth X number of dollars, and he said, screw off. I am. And now we're at war. And he just was as intense as you could possibly get, but boy, did he play hard. So hard. And when he felt like, you didn't understand him, it was time for me to go. And it was all business. And Dave Parker was a 7-time All-Star with 3 different teams. That's how talented he was. He went to the All-Star game 4 times in Pittsburgh, where the bulk of his career was. He won an MVP there. He won the World Series there. He was amazing. He won 2 batting titles there as well. Then went to Cincinnati and went to 2 more All-Star games. Then went to Milwaukee and went to another All-Star game. And then in 1989, in between there, won a World Series with the iconic Bash brothers, Oakland A's. He lived a baseball life. He was an incredible player. He was an incredible personality. And it's such a shame he was not alive on the day he finally got into Cooperstown. And that's forever going to have to weigh on the consciences of those voters that kept him out for a long time. And there was probably a couple of different reasons. He was involved in the mid-'80s drug trial. in baseball, which roped in a couple of different big-name players. There was the contract disputes. There was feuds with the media. But at the end of the day, his credentials were overwhelming. He fell 288 hits shy of 3,000. That's a season and a half for a great player like him. You know, that's not a lot. That's automatic enshrinement, basically. He deserved in. I'm glad he finally got in. I wish he could have seen it. R.I.P. to the Cobra, because is there another more badass nickname than the Cobra? Just a phenomenal player. Cool as cool can be. Much respect, much love, and R.I.P. to an absolute legend. Next up, I want to talk about the Ketel Marte situation from this week. Because Marte was the subject of some vicious, cruel taunting at the ballpark this week. And it made news because not only was the fan thrown out and banned, but because we saw Marte visibly shaken on the field, having to be consoled by his teammates and his manager. Now, what is the type of taunt that could be so vicious that a player would break down in tears? Well, Marte's mother was killed in a car accident a number of years ago, and this fan taunted him about that. I don't think it takes me to tell you how below board that is. It's one thing to taunt a guy, obviously, about baseball. It's one thing to do good-natured ribbing. It's another thing to taunt a guy about a deceased relative, his mother. I mean, obviously, I don't have to say this, but obviously there's no place for that. And that guy should get tossed. That guy should get banned. And Marte has every reason to be shook by that. That's not the sign of some weak-minded player or overly sensitive athlete. That's who wouldn't get rattled by that. But my bigger point is this. It's almost a given that if you say something like that at the ballpark, you're going to be tossed and banned. So there is ramifications. You will be banned from the stadium, perhaps for life, for saying something like that. And yet, what are the ramifications of doing so on the internet? I bring a story. Jordan Whitlock, who is the wife of Red Sox pitcher Garrett Whitlock, and she screenshotted a number of disgusting messages that Garrett got this week on social media. And you could only imagine how ugly they are. We all have seen these types of things before. And this is why I think a fan can go out to the ballpark and taunt Marte about his dead mom. It's because it's become so regular, so normalized on the internet. And it's kind of amazing because normal people understand that the people that say nasty stuff on the internet would never say that to you in person. But for that guy at the ballpark, you think that's the first time he said something that vicious and cruel to an athlete? You don't walk up to the ballpark and suddenly turn into that type of monster. You've done it before. And I realize it's really hard to police the internet. And I realize that I might be shouting into the wind. But if we could ever, as a society, get a hold on that type of stuff that's being said to people every day on the internet, then maybe we could clean up some of the behavior. It's because on the internet, there are no ramifications. And you don't think that those still have an effect? You're watching Marte in the middle of a stadium with cameras on him and thousands of people watching his teammates break down and cry. My guess is if he sees that on the internet, if he gets that DM, if he gets that message, that same effect might happen at home. But we don't see that. And we just assume that, well, there's no voice behind it. It's all anonymous. And so these athletes are used to it. These families are used to it. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. And maybe we should take that more seriously. And why can't we track IP addresses? And why can't we track usernames? Why can't we do this as Twitter, as Instagram, as TikTok, as Facebook? Why can't these social media platforms begin policing death threats? Begin policing that cruel and unusual verbiage? I'm not saying we need to become a society where everything is always policed, everything that you say. What I am saying is if you can say it in person and that gets you banned from the stadium for life, why shouldn't you be banned for life from the stadium for saying it on the internet? Police it the same way, you'll get the same results. It's not okay that we just go by and large and say, yeah, well, athletes get death threats all the time, and it's not cool, but there's nothing we can do. That's not cool. It's not cool that anybody gets death threats, not just athletes, but those are in our sports world here. It's amazing to me that when you say it at a ballpark, there's massive ramifications. Everybody goes, no, you shouldn't do that. When it's said online, we shrug our shoulders and go, what can you do? Next up, the NBA draft. There is nobody more lucky and more annoying for being lucky than Nico Harrison. The GM of the Dallas Mavericks had the gall to say this week that fortune favors the bold when it comes to winning the lottery. What was the bold strategy here? What exactly, Nico, was the grand plan here when you traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis? I'd like to know what the bold strategy was, because the way that you sold it was not, and now we're setting ourselves up for the future. It was, we're ready to win right now because Anthony Davis gives us a better chance because now we're a defensive, solid team, right? That was the sale point. We've got Kyrie, we've got AD, we've got veterans, we're strong on defense, we're ready to win right now. That's why we're doing this. We're ready to win right now. Then, dumb luck, Kyrie gets injured, Anthony Davis gets injured, they fall into the lottery, even though they're in the play-in game. They have a 1.6% chance of winning the lottery. They happen to do so, and it happens to be a draft that has Cooper Flagg in it. And he has the gall. He has the absolute smarminess to say, well, you know, fortune favors the bold. As though you could have possibly known this was going to happen. You dumb lucked into it. You stepped in a bucket and found Cooper Flagg. And this is why this is going to be so difficult to watch. Because if the Mavericks are good and AD is healthy again and Cooper Flagg is who we think he is, and then Kyrie comes back in January and they actually have a pretty decent team and they have a bunch of veterans that can allow them to win right now, and they're a pretty decent team of the Western Conference playoff race. If it works, and we're watching Cooper Flagg do amazing things, if it works, there is Nico Harrison being able to fold his arms and say, I told you so, even though he didn't tell us so, even though he had no idea this was going to happen. Dude, a modicum, just a dollop, a drip of humility would go a long way. A little bit, just a little bit. You're a sneaker guy. You came from sneaker world. You might as well have been selling shoes at Foot Locker. You were in sneaker pushing at Nike, and that's how you landed the NBA as a general manager. And since you let Jalen Brunson walk out the door, okay, you let Porzingis walk out the door, you traded away Luka Doncic, and you just happened to luck into Cooper Flagg. Meantime, there's a massive fan revolt. You admit, I didn't know he was that popular as in Luka Doncic, and you just lucked into the number 1 overall pick. Again, just a dash, a little sprinkle of humility would go a long way. There's nobody luckier and more annoying than Nico Harrison. The next NBA draft question, Ace Bailey. Will Ace Bailey ever lace him up for the Utah Jazz? The more I see, the more I read of his agent, Omar Cooper, the more I'm thinking, Danny Ainge, good luck with all that. I mean, this feels like a disaster waiting to happen. In my neck of the woods, the Hudson Valley of New York, we got snapping turtles. I'm sure there's plenty of you guys watching right now that's got snapping turtles in your neighborhood. Snapping turtle ever finds itself on the road, the animal protection, the wildlife boards, they will tell you, don't mess with the snapping turtle, okay? You might think because you're a human, you can get that snapping turtle out of the way. You got a stick, you might come up and you try to shoo it, but they say don't get anywhere close to that because you don't realize how vicious it is. And then you see snap sticks in half. You're like, yeah, I don't need my finger anywhere near that. That's Omar Cooper, and that's Ace Bailey. I know Danny Ainge likes to take big swings. That's what this is, a big swing. But I'm looking at Omar Cooper, and I'm looking at Ace Bailey, and I'm thinking to Ace, you have surrounded yourself with the wrong guys, the wrong advice, and that guy that gives the bad advice ain't somebody that is simply going to be like, yeah, we'll make life easy on Danny Ainge of the Jazz. We'll just have Ace Bailey report. I just look at that and go, that feels like a disaster. That feels worse than it looks on the outside, I think. And I don't know. Maybe it ends up just kind of going out in the wash and Danny Ainge is able to play glad hand with everybody. And Ainge is a pretty personable guy. He's a good talker. Maybe he's able to smooth the edges here. But I'm looking at this guy and I'm reading these stories and I'm thinking about the advice he's given Ace Bailey going, I don't know if I would want to deal with that snapping turtle. You think you got it, and then you don't got it. I want to talk about Bab Bash yesterday. That happened last night. And if you listen to the SiriusXM show on a daily basis, Channel 82, the DA Show with Babchik, you know that we got all the listeners together, kind of like a Bab Bash show in Babs' backyard, my cohort in the mornings. And I want to just say, if you made it, I had such a good time meeting and talking to everybody there. The people were so cool. And I'm going to sound like a broken record based on what I said about Bob's Bar. But I'm telling you, I was really, really pleased and encouraged. And I just felt good because people came and they just said such nice things about the show. And, you know, I've talked about this before. When I went to SiriusXM, there were certainly listeners that were dubious of me, skeptical of me. There was already something in place, a morning show that was pretty popular for a long time. Babs was obviously wildly popular. Lou was there, Britt was there. There was a thing. And I kind of stepped in and blew it up a little bit. You know, I kind of had to make it my thing. That's what I was employed to do. That's what the bosses wanted me to do. I had to do it. That's how I do a show. But I tried to be as respectful as possible to the listeners and respectful as possible to Babs and Lou and Britt and say, let's weave everything together. Let's make everybody feel welcome. And let's take some of the stuff out that might not work, that I think doesn't work. And let's bring some of the stuff in that you guys think works. And let's try this in a lot of different ways. And let's try to reimagine it. And I got so many people yesterday that really said, you know, it's been really good and it's been great to have you aboard. And, you know, the show is great. And that made me feel really good because I would say almost 2 years into this at SiriusXM, there's been such a change of vibe from maybe some listeners that when I first got there to now, those same listeners are like, look, I love it. And a lot of them would admit like, hey, I was skeptical, but now I love it. And that I just felt like that was totally honest. And that's fine. I appreciate that. I wouldn't want you to lie. And I wouldn't want you to not be skeptical if you really loved a certain show and then somebody new walked in, you didn't know what they had to do with the show. That was really cool. Also, the people that I met there were incredibly gracious and incredibly kind. Like Steve in Philadelphia, he brought Labatt Blue Light, which it's amazing. This is kind of following me. You know, guys brought Labatt Blue Light for me over at Bob's Bar. Now the same thing at Bab Bash, which I'm incredibly grateful for because I had an ice cold blue light in my hand at all times. And Steve was like, "Are you out, DA? I'll go get you another one. Let me make sure it's ice cold." He cracked it for me, handed it to me. I'm like, dude, too awesome. Chef George, who cooked for everybody, such a good guy. He runs this amazingly successful Deliana in East Hampton, Connecticut. And he's like, I had to be here. You know, I love the show. I listen to you guys all the time. I had to be here. And, you know, he lost money by being there. There's no doubt he could have fulfilled more orders, more catering orders, but he came because he loved the show. I got to talk to Wallace Myers, who Wallace is a founding father here of the Jedi Council memberships. Wallace is an amazing listener. You hear me read his tweets all the time. He was the first on board as a member here on the YouTube channel, and he was there, and we just had such a great conversation. We just bonded once again. He had such kind things to say to me. I felt the same way about him. Just incredible. And Wallace is in the comments right now, and you know, he couldn't make it to Bob's Bar. He lives in Austin, Texas. Anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, like, Wallace is one of the great dudes. And I think when you all get to meet him at the next event or whatever, you will fall in love with the guy. It went on and on and on like this. Randy Trask, who, I mean, somehow has taken up residency in New York at this point in time. I had not met Randy before Bab Bash last year, okay? That was June of last year. I'm pretty sure I've seen Randy 6 times in a year. That's way more than most of my family. Way more. Way more. I mean, I can honestly, outside of people at work, I can count on one hand the people I've seen as often as Randy over the last calendar year. It's unbelievable. I've seen Randy at 2 Bab Bashes, 2 Bob's Bar, a Buffalo Bills game, and an office party. I mean, 7 times in a year. He's unbelievable. And he brought Beth. She's the sweetest sweetheart of all time. And they bought me a gift, which I'm going to show you on the show a little bit later on in the program. They brought me a gift as a thank you to the Bob's Bar, which they didn't have to do, but Randy performed with his band. He was awesome. And it was just totally good vibes. Totally good vibes. So Bab Bash was a huge success. A lot of great things to say. Caught up with a couple of guys. They were asking about fishing. Hey, tell me what you caught when you went out on the fishing boat last summer, you know, and they're like, we should organize a fishing trip. Like, just salt of the earth, good dudes. Central PA Foul, one of those guys. We were talking about hiking. J-Rock, he's a big hunter and fisherman, and just like a guy that loves nature and wildlife and the earth and everything. Such a good dude. Just so many good dudes. BKJ was there, and it's amazing. Like, BKJ, once upon a time, like, blasted me on the air. Absolutely blasted me. And I said, we can't have that. We cannot disrespect one another on this. We can, of course, argue over sports all the time, but we cannot disrespect one another. Well, BKJ, to his credit, came to the office party in December, and we just hashed it out. I said, let's talk about it in person. And we did. And I saw where he was coming from. He apologized to me. I saw where he was coming from. I said, it's all good now. Water under the bridge. We're good. We're dudes. And he was there yesterday. Big bro hug. How we doing? How's the family? Like, awesome. So all good vibes, all good people. So happy I could go. And Babs got really sunburned. He never had a shirt on the entire day. Tomato red, drunk and sunburned the entire day. And how else would you rather have Babs? Perfect. Chef's kiss. Couldn't have been better. Too perfect. That's awesome. All right. So on that note, the memberships I mentioned about Wallace, this has been phenomenal. And we've had such a cool group of people that have joined this membership crew here. And there's a way to gift memberships, okay? I'm just learning about this now through YouTube because this is all kind of new to me as well. But if you want to gift somebody a membership, you can do so to bring them into the inner sanctum. Now, if you're a member, you get all these custom emojis. You get the special, what would you call it? It's like an emoticon. It's like my green face. You get the badge. They call that the YouTube badge. The longer you are a member, the badge colors change. Okay, but you get to use all the custom emojis. You get the exclusive content, my raw feed series, which is a deeper dive into all of our long-form conversations that I've done. And coming up, we've got a special members exclusive video coming up this week, which is all of the unaired footage from Bob's Bar. Me and Aiden put together this incredible epic, an hour and 40 minutes, deep dive into Bob's Bar. It's available right now. There is footage that didn't even make that. You can only imagine how deep that cut is. If it didn't make an hour and a 40-minute retrospective, I'm going to put all of that together. So it's conversations with all the Hall of Famers, Moist Pork, Kristen, and Randy. It's extended footage of what happened when I was trying to get Gordon to quiet down before the Hall of Fame induction. There is a video of Matt in Calgary and a longer video from that. It's awesome. I'm going to put it all together for members only. So you can join by clicking on join above me, or there's a URL in all the descriptions of the videos and this channel. You can put in the URL. But if you want to gift a membership to somebody, there's a little hack you have to do, the person that accepts it. You have to be able to accept memberships. And so we're going to do this all together right now. If you go to my tab that says join, okay, I think it only works on desktop. If you're on your phone right now, it might not work. But if you click on that join, you should see all the things that pop up as part of the membership. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's 3 dots, almost like a stoplight, 3 dots on top of one another. If you click that, it's settings. And in membership settings, you need to slide over the slider that says accept membership gifts. If you slide that over, then somebody can gift you membership. So in the chat, anybody can gift anybody memberships. And that's just kind of like a show of goodwill. You can gift them 1 month at a time, which is awesome. It's a great way to get everybody involved, get everybody together, one big happy family, for just all the cool stuff that they allow us to do around here. And one of the cool things we can do is members-only chat. We have the first chat, which is, there's an AMA, Ask Me Anything. It's ADAA, Ask DA Anything. We're going to do that a week from tomorrow. July the 7th is the first one. 7 at 7. Okay, July 7th at 7 o'clock, we will do the Ask Me Anything. So sign up to be a member, even if it's for just a month, to see if you like it. Join the chat. It's members only exclusive, so I can be a little bit more raw. I know it's not going to get aggregated. I know it's not going to get clipped and taken out of context. I know that the people that are behind, the Jedi Council wall will have my back on whatever we talk about, very honestly. So make sure you're joined. Make sure, remember to do that. 7 at 7 o'clock Eastern time is when we'll do our first ever Ask Me Anything through the channel, which I can't wait for. We've been talking about that for a long time. That's going to be awesome. As I mentioned, the Bob's Bar deep dive, I just finished it this morning. I was working on it yesterday. I finished it up this morning. I exported that bad boy out of my computer. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It takes forever to export a high-res video of an hour and 40 minutes. I finally got it up, finally got the thumbnail put together, and I'm super proud of it. I really am super proud of it. Me and Aiden did the deepest dive ever. It's not for everybody. It is minutia upon minutia. But to me, some of the stuff I love most is like 24/7, is Hard Knocks, is the insider intel, like every little decision. And that's what happened with the Bob's Bar deep dive. I honestly thought it was going to be half hour, 45 minutes. We got to an hour, got to an hour 15, got to an hour and a half, we got to an hour 40. I was just like, we had to keep telling the stories. And I told stories in it that Aiden had never heard. He didn't know I was doing this on the back end, the decision here, the decision there. I will tell you, as a non-spoiler alert, but something to watch, the type of pizzas I ordered, this is how detailed the planning was on this. The type of pizzas I ordered, there was a reason for them based on the Hall of Famers. I'll leave it at that. But check it out. You can skim it. You can see the behind-the-scenes videos. You can see the interviews. You can see that there's a ton of pictures as well. There's a whole gallery of photos that run during it. So you get to experience it. If you were there, I wanted to do something that was a memento for those that were there, that they could almost relive it. And then for those that weren't there, I wanted you to feel like you were there, because I know it wasn't easy for everybody to make it. I know people had decisions to make with family and, all types of scheduling conflicts and distance and finances and all that. I understand it. If you couldn't make it, I wanted you to feel like you were there. And that's what we did. It is blow by blow, step by step, minute by minute of like the 6 months it took to put it on. And so I think you'll like it. It's right now on the YouTube channel. Check it out. The Bob's Bar Deep Dive. It's right there. This week's Q&DA is going to be with Chef Dale Taldi. He is a celebrity chef. He was on Top Chef, and now he's doing the 5th season, season 5 of All Up in Your Grill, which is on a lot of streaming channels, and it's on the streaming channel Taste Made. He's awesome. He's just a cool dude. He loves old school hip hop. He is such a regular guy. He loves grilling, and his whole thing is, I want to elevate grilling so that you don't just do burgers and dogs, but I want to make sure it's accessible for everybody because we all have a grill. So let's not make it too foo-foo. Let's make it real. Let's make it good, but let's let you feel creative on the grill beyond just making burgers and dogs. So I love talking to him. We're going to do a full, nearly half-hour Q&DA release tomorrow, and on top of that, you'll have the raw feed that comes with it. That's members only, that video that we do, but Q&DA is available for everybody. So you'll see Dale Taldi tomorrow in full on this channel for our Q&DA long form series. Let's give you a little taste of Dale Taldi, celebrity chef, right now. Let's just say we're out in the park, okay? And we got the Furious Five and Grandmaster Flash. And they're like, okay, Dale, let's cook something up. And you're like, I really want to impress these guys. I really want to impress these guys. But I don't have my grill. I've got like a park grill. I got one of those. It's been caked over a million years, but I know it's got flavor and soul in there. What are you cooking to impress somebody out in the park?
Listen, I'll tell you this, and it's not one that you would kind of go to naturally, but because of the nature of those grills and the kind of like, I don't know what's been done. Like, who's taking care of this? Like, I know the New York State or the New York City park districts probably aren't taking care of these grills. Yeah. And what I've done in the past that's been super sick and dope is I do like a shrimp boil.
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's one of those things where you can make a volume of food, feed a ton of people, and do it relatively quickly. And it's not like, and you have to be, you don't have to be tied to it. You can still enjoy yourself and you can still dance and have fun. It's messy, but you're in the park, especially in New York City. Like, that's the name of the game, right? You're coming home and the kicks are scuffed up and, you've got some, you've rolled around a little bit and you've had fun, maybe played some ball in the park and played some handball. But I've done that in a park and I think it's been a real hit because end of the day, especially you get a big, get one of those benches, you just put some newspapers down, put some wax paper down, just dump everything on top of that and say, go at it, have fun. Sausages, corn, onions, potatoes, some grilled bread. And then, it's just some bowls for you to dunk it into. And I think it's just as good kind of room temperature as is piping hot. So I love that.
That's a great one. You don't have to babysit it. Like you said, that's a great suggestion. Chicago epic tailgates. We know Chicago Bears tailgates are all-timer. I would imagine like World Cup tailgates at Soldier Field, big soccer events in Chicago. That would be awesome as well. If you're going out there and you're tailgating, what's a good kind of hook this summer or maybe in the fall for football that you can bring out maybe your mini grill from the car and actually get something done that's pretty legit?
I think great tailgates start with a theme. So it starts with a idea, like what's the theme right now? And if you're talking to me Chicago tailgates, what I love about Chicago, one of the things I love most about Chicago is the Mexican food. Because there's such great Mexican food in Chicago. So I think like something like a birria taco situation. You kind of cook it all ahead of time, right? you start to build your tacos. You had a great grill out there, little cheese, get that nice and crispy, like the queso taco, crispy, fill it with the meats, and then you have a nice mug of some of that broth, and then you're dipping into it. And as soon as you get done with all the tacos, pro tip, bring dried ramen noodles. And now you're slurping like ramen noodles in your birria broth.
Ooh.
Dressing it just like a taco. Diced onion, cilantro, pickled jalapenos, squeeze a lime, and then you're slurping noodles, especially if it's like later in the fall where it's nice and got a chill in it. So you've eaten the taco, and now you're just slurping noodles. To me, it's great prep. You kind of got a theme going that, hey, we're going, Mexican street food, Mexican style. And you're not, like I said, you're not breaking your back kind of assembling for everybody. You're just like, hey, guys, tacos are ready. Are crispy. Broth is ready. Garnish it how you want to, and save room for dessert and keep that mug hot because we're going to be dropping noodles in that.
Oh, I love that idea. Your series, All Up in My Grill, has been incredibly successful, and Taste Made got such great publicity and attention for it. You got season 5 coming up here this summer. So what's unique about this upcoming season that the audience could get all fired up about?
Yeah, so, I think, we're in season 5, and like my cooking style, I think there's in this, like, when you're in season 1 and 2 and 3, you're trying to flex so hard and do some crazy things. And maybe, some of the recipes were a little long in the tooth. And I think what we've done this season was we pared the recipes down a little, but we increased the technique. So I am making this, at this stage, like if you're following us and you're grilling a lot, trying to take the recipe out of your grilling and make it more intuitive. Make this idea of being on the grill, utilizing whether it's a gas or a live fire grill, just making the whole process a little bit more intuitive. And not so kind of like ingredient and recipe driven, but teaching you technique, because technique, once you learn the technique, then the craftsmanship comes into, and the exploration and the creativity comes into whatever you're cooking, right? You're taking, a really great steak that's, maybe you're taking a really great steak that costs you, maybe a little bit much, and salt and pepper, because that's all it needs. And now you're looking at the technique and going, you know what? I'm going to get creative with my ingredients. I'm going to get maybe a cheaper cut of meat, but because I understand this technique of how I'm marinating it, how I'm glazing it, and how I'm finishing it on the grill and charring it on the grill, I'm going to add my flavors and my different flavors and ingredients to it. So, it's not just taking a simple piece of meat and treating it beautifully and whatever. Maybe it's taking like, hey, this is a tougher piece of meat that I'm going to marinate because I learned this technique, or the techniques of how this meat reacts on a grill. I can get more creative with it. So that's the goal of season 5. Still having fun. We still have some wacky recipes. We're cooking on a tandoor oven that we never did before, a live fire tandoor oven. That is fun and exciting. And, did I ever think season 1 we'll bust out a tandoor and no, but we did it, and it was hilarious and fun. And, I got this guy from it.
Damn.
Months ago.
You got a battle scar from season 5.
Season 5 battle scar right there. But you know what? If you want some real cred in the hospitality industry, walk into a room full of chefs with one of these, and they'll be like, "Oh, you cook?"
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, full version of that conversation coming up tomorrow as part of Q&DA here on the YouTube channel. As I mentioned before, Randy Trask and Beth got me this, and I just think you guys will absolutely love this. How awesome is this t-shirt? NBA Jam. He's on fire. Boom, shakalaka. I just love this. So this was as a thank you for throwing the Bob's Bar show. You didn't have to do this. You don't have to thank me. It is my pleasure to get everybody together. I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, love meeting you guys. And I love giving you guys a chance to hang out. I love throwing parties. I love getting good people together. And I genuinely, and I say this totally authentically, I really walked away from both those events with such joy. It was just pure joy. So thank you, man. I will wear this in good health. You will see this throughout the summer. This is the best summer shirt I could possibly ask for. NBA Jam, one of my favorite video games of all time. Just the best. So cool. And yeah, I see Steve in Philadelphia is in the chat, which is awesome. Steve-O, I owe you. Those Labatt blue lights were so delicious. And the personalized t-shirt, Steve made a t-shirt with all of Babs's big boards, the most controversial big boards on them, his top fives. And on the back, Steve had me in a Batman outfit with a broom, based on the story of me having the bat stuck in my house and swinging the broom around the house, trying to get it out of the house a couple of months ago. So funny. Steve's such a good dude. And I see that there's a bunch of Bab's listeners, or I should say Bab Bash patrons and SiriusXM listeners here, which is awesome. I think Packer Fan is in the mix here, which is awesome. Packer Fan drove in from Texas, I think drove out, or flew in from Texas, flew out. But of course, Babs had him mow the lawn before the party. I'm like, dude, you can't mow the lawn for the people that flew here. Yeah, they've got to do the work as well. But Packer Fan was the grounds crew. Great dude, just great peeps all around. Really, really good peeps all around. I had such a good time. And Randy has his no-bake cookies. And I got to tell you, Randy, they came in handy, the no-bake cookies, last night on my drive home. I ate so much Chef George food, but then I was there. We had a little sip of the bourbon at the end of the night, and I was like, I got to just chill out. I got to relax. So I stopped drinking so I could drive home, but it left me very hungry. And so I had to stop for a little McDonald's, and I hit myself with a 10-piece, and I was still hungry. I was like, the 10-piece, the fry is fine, but I need something else. And I looked to my right in the passenger seat, and there were Randy's no-bake cookies. I'm like, yes, amazing, perfect. That got me home. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. It was such a good night, really. And I put a bunch of pictures and videos on my Instagram page. So if you want to go and see all the stuff that I saw last night or that I videotaped or took photos of last night, check it out right there. My Instagram handle is @Damon Amendo. Really, that's my handle on everything. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, across the board. Just use @Damon Amendo and you'll find it. And I got some great footage and photos and videos of everybody there. Really cool. I wanted to give you a little sports zen as well tonight. And in honor of Dave Parker passing away, the Cobra, here is the sports zen moment. I feel like these images are the way you can kind of like relax and just, kind of zone out over the course of the summer. If you have some time at the lake, maybe on the back deck, in a hammock, maybe in a boat or what have you. You just need to like veg. That's why we put together Sports Zen. How cool is this photo of Dave Parker holding a photo of himself in his younger years as part of the 79 Pirates team? If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys bopping. Look at that hat. Look at that T-shirt. Look at that beard. Look at that mustache. Look at how cool that dude was. He is just one of the baddest dudes ever, and we're going to miss him. He was a character. He was an amazing player, and I just felt like, yeah, that's right there. That's Sports Zen. That is Sports Zen at its finest. We do have time for a bunch of chat questions and comments. And Aiden, this has been a great chat. I've been kind of keeping one eye on it there. And when we ran Dale Talladey, I got to read through a bunch of them. Feels like this is a very active chat tonight. I'm very excited with a lot of new faces and new names. Very cool.
You would be correct. A lot of new faces, a lot of new names, a lot of people ready for not only the Bob's Bar deep dive, but also the ADAA, Ask DA Anything 777 coming up next week. I'm pumped for that.
Love it. Yeah, it's going to be great. We can really dig into some stuff that perhaps I have been able to dig into for one reason or another until now. So if you want to do that, just make sure you join as a member, and you will be eligible for the Ask Me Anything 7 at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So what other chat questions do we got going on?
Let's do one from one of our regulars here, Curtis, and he's got a emoji recommendation. How the hell is there not a mothership emoji yet?
Yeah, good. That's a good point. We do need just a traditional mothership at this point in time. That's a good one. Like I said, anybody that's in the chat right now, just fire away your ideas, your brainstorms. It could be anything. Could be the old show. Could be the new show. Could be something from the YouTube show. Could be anything. I'm all ears. We kind of have a little bit of everything. Some old references, some new references. So yeah, I'm into it. And yeah, there really just should be a mothership. That's true. So we will send that to customer service as put it on the board. Yes.
Maybe a bat, maybe a McDonald's, or maybe there's a no bake cookie emoji. The possibilities are endless.
Love it.
And then some newcomers that I wanted to highlight as well in chronological order. How about Back Nine Ronnie watching on YouTube? The DA Show saved my life. Shout out Back Nine Ronnie. He's changed his handle here and there, but wanted to shout out Back Nine Ronnie as well.
Very
and
cool.
then close to my heart up here in Boston, Corrupt 316. DA 98-mile champion.
Yes.
People forget. Boston misses you, my man. Bruins title takeover show was epic. What a ride. Went the whole night, and I'm sure you missed the days.
Yeah, I got to tell you, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, I did, when they hit 15 years, and I think that was last August, I did a video about how I landed in Boston with that job. And it was a crazy turn of events in my career and my life, really. And so that station, that helped me so much in my career because the station was a machine, still is a machine. It just, the ratings numbers are eye-popping. And I happened to be able to kind of gravy train because I was the new guy. I was an out-of-towner. And everybody else was kind of like old school Boston voices, credible, but there was such a good attitude and refreshing attitude on the air. They allowed us to try new things. And of course, if you've ever listened to any of my radio shows, it was, we need to push boundaries and try new things and not do old hacky, sports talk garbage. Like, we need to deliver something refreshing and new and challenge the convention. And Boston really was receptive. And I had such a good time. Those years I was there, 09 through 12, the end of 12, so almost 13. So 4 years. I'm so proud of those shows. And I'm so proud of how I grew as a host. And I was so grateful that I was so embraced by a city that should naturally hate New Yorkers, but they understood me. And I can't say enough about that. And the station was creative. The entire station was creative. And that was so refreshing to go to a place where everybody tried new things. And yeah, I was on the air since I did nights there. I was on the air throughout that entire Bruins playoff run for post-game shows. So they won the Stanley Cup in 2011. I was on after every one of those games. And after they won the Stanley Cup, I stayed on all night until the morning show began at 6 a.m. So I pulled an all-nighter. And one of the seminal moments of my career, this is now 14 years ago, was 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. There was no open phone lines the entire night, and grown men calling up and just crying. I never thought I'd see it. And they were saying that. I never thought I'd see the Bruins win the Stanley Cup. And I just thought this is why sports is so powerful and matters so much, and why when you do sports, from my vantage point, when you do sports media, when you own a team, when you coach a team, when you work for a team, you have to understand the impact with what you have. You cannot take that for granted or take that lightly. When grown men call you up in the middle of the night at 4 in the morning and just are weeping because their team won the Stanley Cup, you have to respect that. And you can't shortchange that. And when you hear me go off, and I'm not an angry guy by trade, but I get angry. And when you hear me go off on the A's ownership and things of that nature, when I really feel like owners or leagues are manipulating fans and dismissing them or ignoring them or blaming them, I get really mad. I get really mad because it is such a slap in the face. It is such a sign of disrespect for what we give as sports fans to point the finger at us or to manipulate us or to exploit us. And I realize that it happens quite a bit, but it's still when it happens in really awful ways, like the A's moving, the fangs come out. I cannot help myself. And so that was indicative of why those things matter so much to me. So yeah, the days in Boston were incredible. Those shows were so much fun, and those years were so much fun. And yeah, if you want to go back and see my retrospective on it, it's from last August, but just type in 98.5 Boston DA, and you should see the video that I put together of how I landed there, because it was kind of a crazy twist of fate. I was working in Miami at the time, and CBS as a company flipped a bunch of FM music channels as formats changed and radio started getting away from music because of iPods, Spotify, streaming services, and they flipped a bunch of cities to sports. And so CBS, I was on their radar, and they said, well, where can you fit? And it might have been Dallas. It might have been DC. There was a couple of different potential fits, but they plotted me in Boston, and the rest was history. I couldn't have gotten more fortunate to have landed there. It was a dream come true, really. I mean, truly, it was a dream come true. So pretty cool. What else we got?
Very well said. And before we move on from that, because it was such a both poignant point, but also unserious, 98 Mile, folks, for the people who did not know, and I'll say it for you because you probably wouldn't want to bump your chest right now. 98 Mile was a ripoff of 8 Mile, a rap battle competition between all of the hosts on the air.
Right.
And it went on for probably 5 or 6 years after you had left for CBS. But year one, the first iteration, you should have your best bars ready to go. We both love our hip hop, right? Your debut album has to be the best to get people on your bandwagon. And DA takes home the first inaugural 8 Mile trophy. Those, I believe, still live on YouTube as well. So if you want to do a deep dive of DA rapping to Move, Get Out the Way, that's available on YouTube.
That's right. I did the Notorious DA. I did Ludacris, and there's one other. There's 3 different raps on there. I had to make my way through the Tournament of Champions, and I did take home the first ever 98 Mile hip hop championship. Very proud moment.
Let's do one more. Rem Fan 710 on YouTube. He's been awesome tonight. Sweet Damon Amendolara does lives. I love this guy on NFL Top 10. In all seriousness, he has sounded like he just found the show tonight. And awesome. You can see in chronological order, wait, he has a radio show on SiriusXM. Wait, he does Sunday nights here at 7 p.m. Wait, there's this whole channel, or excuse me, chat of awesome aliens. So welcome to the club.
Yeah, I saw this when Taldi was on, and I was scrolling through the comments that Rem Fan was a big fan of the NFL Top 10, and he's like, yeah, we only usually on Top 10 you get like 2 jokes at a DA, and then it's rapid fire. This is long form. That's exactly right. The Top 10 was another thing that actually really was a twist of fate, and you don't know how these things happen, but I interned in college at a regional TV station called News 12 in Westchester, New York, really Yonkers, New York. And the weekend sports anchor was a man by the name of Greg Frith. Greg ended up getting out of sports anchor on TV and moved into production at NFL Films. I was in Miami at the time in 2008, and they were launching the Top 10 series, and they had Top 10 biggest chokes, Top 10 biggest chokes. And the Lynn Elliott game was on the list. And Lynn Elliott was a kicker for the Chiefs in 1995 who missed 3 field goals as the Chiefs, as the number 1 seed in the playoffs, lost in their first game, the divisional round, to Jim Harbaugh's comeback Colts. Crazy season that the Colts almost made the Super Bowl. And in that game, the Chiefs lose 10-7 and miss 3 field goals. 3. It's a frigid night at Arrowhead. January, they're the 1 seed, and Lynn Elliott misses 3 field goals, and so that's how they lose. Greg reaches out to me over email. We had not spoken in years at that point in time, and goes, hey, I know you just came from Kansas City. We're doing this series. Do you think you could talk about the Lynn Elliott game? I go, I was not in Kansas City during the Lynn Elliott game. That was 95. I got there in 03. But hell yeah, I could talk about it. And one of my a piece of advice I probably told Aiden a million times. I try to tell young people in broadcasting, just always say yes. Figure it out. Say yes, because you just never know when the door opens again. Prepare yourself as much as possible. When that door opens, always say yes. And I said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I could talk about that. And so I went back and I watched it, and I kind of knew it. I remember watching it in real time. I wasn't in Kansas City, I didn't cover the game. But that was my introduction, and they liked it enough where they called me back the next year for like 4 episodes. And then after that, they're like, well, you're the one guy that if we threw the 1936 Acme Packers at you, you could bring up something. So we're just going to use you for every episode to fill in the blanks. And that I was fill in the blank guy. I was just like, okay, nobody has anything on the 1960 Eagles. Can you do something on Bednarik? I'm like, got it. Yeah, I could do that. We need something on Don Hudson in 1960. Can we do that? Yeah, I got it. Yep, no problem. Got it. They're like, okay, we need something on Rolf Benershka. Can you do that? Yep, I got it. No problem. So I became just like fill in the blank guy. So yeah, that's why I'm all over top 10s. And amazingly, it's so funny that this just comes up now because Katie Linendahl, who's our Gidget of Gadgets on the show, and I've known her for years, she texted me from the Atlanta airport and was like, I'm here. My flight's delayed. I'm sitting on the ground. And who is here to, I really should have put this to Aiden to post on the show. I just got this text last night. She's like, of all people who's on TV, but you. And for some reason in the Delta, not even the lounge, it's like at the gate, they're playing NFL Films Top 10 on the TV. And there I am, I'm sure, talking about the greatest reverses of all time or something, the greatest punts of all time. And there I am keeping Katie Linendahl company. And they stopped airing that for a long time. So it's probably the summer, so there's no content. They just need shows, and they have these banked because they're no longer producing the show. They stopped producing it in 21, I think. 20 or 21 was like the last season of this, of it. So they haven't made any new in 5 years, but somehow I'm still showing up on NFL Network. So God bless. Keep running it. I don't get any royalties, but keep running it.
That's so great. And Katie Linendahl is just in, B24 at Hartsfield Jackson.
Exactly.
Get ready for her next segment. It's while she's gallivanting around the globe and just pops up and sees DA on the screen. Usually
awesome.
it's a cooking show or like a rerun of last week's NFL game of the week.
Or they're running headline news or something, or the Weather Channel, right? Something totally generic.
I love it. So I think that's the best way to wrap it up for the B-Muffs this evening.
This cup is also available right now on the merch store. And if you saw any of the pictures of me wearing the Feel Good Doing Well shirt with myself and all the crew from CBS and all the crew from Sirius, along with Katie Linendahl, all of that, and Aiden, of course, is on there as well. That shirt is available right now on the merch store as well. That plus the Rose of the Cat feeling, be good and be good to one another. There's a Mothership t-shirt, and there's also a Forever Oakland t-shirt as well for A's fans or anybody that wants to support the Oakland fans that got robbed of all their teams. So all those are available, plus this cup as well. Right now, you can hit that QRC code and go to the merch store and use the code DADS. It's the month of Father's Day, so DADS, D-A-D-S. I wanted to make sure dads were taken care of throughout the entire month, not just the week of Father's Day. So that'll work until July 1. And what is July 1? Tuesday? Yeah, so tonight and tomorrow, you'll still get 10% off using code DADS, D-A-D-S, and then that expires. So make sure you use it today and tomorrow, and, you can hook your dad up or your grandpa up or your husband up or yourself up or your son up or your wife up or hook anybody up. I feel like it's good. And there's men's styles, there's women's styles, and there's youth styles of everything. So we got everything covered. The Last Dive Bar has helped me out with that merch store, and they are truly amazing. They've been so supportive of this show. They've been so supportive of just all of our projects in general. They helped me out so much with the merch store. It runs through lastdivebar.com. So you can always use code Mothership for their stuff as well. If you go and you like any of their hoodies, like any of their t-shirts, you can use code Mothership for 15% off. That's right, a big discount over there, which is awesome. Brian and the gang, they're just great dudes, and we love being partnered with them. They're amazing. So that's what we try to do, just kind of collect as many good people as humanly possible. So there you go. Oh, and Delta Brian brings up a good point. Backwards Brian. I did say Jedi Council members always get a discount. For now, use the code DADS for 10% off. But if you are a Jedi Council member, you will always have a discount. So starting, I guess, when we do next week's Watch DA Live, or when we do the AMA, Ask Me Anything, I'll give everybody that's in the Jedi Council also their own permanent code that they can use for discounts there. So it'll pay for itself if you join to be a member. I'll always make sure that you guys are taken care of on the merch side as much as possible, and have as many chances to get connected as humanly possible. Tonight was a great show. Really, really cool show. And the chat was just awesome. Like, you guys were on fire tonight. And I really thank you for that. I'm going to try to keep Sunday nights as tight as possible, an hour 10, because I know you guys got a million things to do. And I don't want to waste your time, but I honestly could sit here and go through every single comment and riff on it and talk about it. But I guess that's what I think the AMAs will be good for, that I can just have this long span of time that I can just talk to you directly and answer questions and riff and whatever. But I really appreciate it. The comments are so cool. I saw CL10 in there as well, which was compete level 10, which is what the slogan was in Boston, which is in hockey parlance, like you have to have a high compete level. I always thought compete level all the way at a 10, CL10. So it feels like the comment section tonight was a CL10, and that was really cool, really awesome. Like I said, the Bab Bash last night, if you came out and I got to talk to you, I thank you a lot. Woodchuck Fowl was there, and Woodchuck Fowl lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He is a beer drinking, bleep kicking dude, and he's straight out of the country. And he's like, DA, gotta be honest, I didn't know about you when you took over the show. I didn't know. I go, I get it, Woodchuck Fowl. I get it, man. You don't have to podcast. But I got to tell you, I really like you now. I go, thanks, man. Thanks. You want to take a shot? I go, let's take a shot. Let's do it. He was great. And then he seemed to sprain his ankle because he was so hammered and he fell over. But before that, he was great. Well, we had a great time. At one point, he cornered me and he was just talking on and on and on and on and on and on about I forget what. And so some of the other listeners were like, DA, we got to ask you a question. I went over there. They're like, we just want to make sure you're cool. I'm like, oh, yeah, don't worry. If I want to walk away from Woodchuck Fowl, I'll just walk away. Do not worry about me. You don't have to save me. But I appreciate the sentiment. And that was the sentiment last night. Like, everyone was really, really cool. So it was just classic. I didn't know about you when you took over. But I got to admit, I really like you now. I appreciate that, man. That's good. I appreciate that. Hey, love all you guys. Thank you so much. I am off on SiriusXM this week for 4th of July. So you won't hear me on the radio, but we will do this on Sunday night to recap the week in sports. You will get all of my sports takes that'll be bottled up over the course of vacation. I'll be bursting at the seams, okay? So we'll do this on Sunday night a week from now, okay? Have a safe and happy holiday, please. Enjoy it. And enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. Have a cold one for me. Dip your toes in the pool, dip your toes in the lake. Spread out and just enjoy yourself. Relax. Exhale cocktails for life, right? That's right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it very much. Thanks to Aiden Hatton and the Marquette Marvel doing a wonderful job, as always, as the executive producer. Be good to one another. This is Watch DA Live, signing off.